8, Class 8 students, today's teaching on the following points. Introduction. In my previous class I taught you about the inequality among the mass of France and the inactive role of the French king Louis XVI. Today I am going to discuss about the corrupt and inefficient government. The corrupt and inefficient government. 18th century France witnessed a rule of an autocratic ruler, Louis XVI. And before that, other autocratic rulers also ruled France, because 18th century France witnessed heretical form of government. That means they all came one after one as per hereditary rights. So Louis XVI also came by that way, and he ruled an autocratic rule in France. People of France were not satisfied with his policies, with his technique, with his methods, because he always led a very luxurious life and realized that money from the people, from the common people who were forced to pay taxes. He imposed high taxes on them, but there was no system of collecting taxes from the two estates, the first estate and the second estate, but only from the third estates. That's why these inequality, these corrupt practices of the government, the officials were bothered about, officials of the government were not bothered about the welfare of the peasants, and hence the people angered, their technique and method also displeased them, and hence they were thinking of doing a new step in support of for the protection of their own life. Now, religious interest, religious intolerance. The king of France was very much religiously intolerant. Religiously intolerant king, and that means his religious intolerance, policy of religious intolerance, created an atmosphere like a fish out of water throughout the France. People of France had no right to exercise their religious rights because of the dogmatic influence of the church and the clergy. Clergy, made huge wealth at the cost of common people. Church also declared all the properties of the common people to be the properties of the church. So by that way, the wrong practices, the orthodox practices and style, technique, method of church and the priestly class people also brought a very miserable condition throughout France, and hence the condition of the common people had become very miserable. And later on, consequently, revolutionaries were opened. They all became the French revolutionaries. Ultimately, had become anti-God, anti-church. They did not want to pay tribute, but they were forced to be anti-church and anti-God, because they lost faith on the church, and that's why they came to a conclusion that there was no God, but only the rule of the common people. Because the king himself was an autocratic one. King himself created an atmosphere throughout the country. The condition of the poor people, the condition of the third estate had become very miserable. That's why they wanted to come out of these circumstances. But who protect them? There is a proverb in English that God always appears before common people, especially who do not have any justice and cannot make them protected from the autocratic rulers. Always God sent their messengers, sent their representatives in various forms to protect the common people from being humiliated at the hands of autocratic rulers. During French Revolution, three great persons were born. Who were they? Who appeared in France to be the protector of the common people? Who were they? The three great philosophers, Voltaire, Rousseau, and Montesquieu. The three great political thinkers and philosophers wrote a number of articles and encouraged the common people to raise their voice against the injustice done to them. They encouraged the common people to criticize the autocratic ruler, to overthrow the rule of autocracy, and hence the common people of France, the revolutionaries of France, they were encouraged by the philosophical explanation, by the concepts, thoughts of the three great political philosophers of France, Rousseau, Montesquieu, and Voltaire. They attacked the power, the church authorities, that the clergy and the king had the power. These revolutionary ideas encouraged the third estate. They realized it that the influence of the clergy, means first estate and second estate, the influence of the autocratic ruler should be immediately stopped. Otherwise, the condition of the common people would become very, very unstable and deplorable. That's why the three great personalities of France, the great philosophers of France, Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Rousseau, without caring of the influence of the first estate, second estate, and king, without caring of being, without fearing of being imprisoned by the kings, they kept on criticizing against the autocratic rule, against the system of autocracy, again in order to encourage the revolutionary ideals of the revolutionaries of France. They were Montesquieu, Voltaire, and Rousseau. Rousseau wrote the famous book Social Contract. In his famous book Social Contract, Rousseau wrote that the autocratic rule would come to an end very soon, and the rule of the people would be established throughout the country because of the establishment of the rule for the human beings was knocking the door. They would be able to establish the rule of the people, for the people, and by the people. In his famous book, Social Contract, Rousseau wrote it. Next day, outbreak of the revolution. Up to this, my dear students. Thank you.